Kalen DeBoer celebrates his first SEC and Top 5 win with Alabama football, and it was a well-earned victory. The number 4 Crimson Tide defeated Kirby Smart and number 1 Georgia 41-34 in a primetime game at 7:30 p.m. from Nick Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. However, they needed a critical interception in the closing seconds to pull away. This triumph is DeBoer's first for Alabama, 4-0, 1-0 SEC versus Georgia. The setback puts a stop to the Bulldogs' incredible winning run during the regular season, which began in 2020 when they were upset 44-28 in Jacksonville by then number 8 Florida. The team is now 3-1 and 1-1 in the SEC. After scoring 28 points in the first half of the game, Alabama led 30-7 at the break. But Georgia pulled off an incredible comeback in the second half, leading 34-33 with 2:31 remaining after Carson Beck's 67-yard touchdown throw to Dylan Bell gave them their first lead. However, Jalen Milroe and Ryan Williams' incredible 75-yard touchdown throw gave Alabama the lead back in only 13 seconds. Freshman Zabien Brown's interception gave the Crimson Tide the win. Georgia has now lost 2 straight games against Alabama, including the SEC championship game from the previous year. The Bulldogs' playoff chances are greatly affected by this loss, which might eliminate them from the top 4. Georgia's defeat may not portend disaster since the SEC is growing, and the college football playoff will include a 12-team tournament this season. But Alabama has moved itself closer to a possible bye and home field advantage in the playoffs. Get up to date with the results, highlights, and updates from this top 5 SEC matchup here. Updates on the Alabama versus Georgia score. Teams 1Q, 2, 3Q, 4Q. F. Georgia 0-7, 8-19-34. Alabama 21-9-3, 8-41. The final score was Alabama 41, Georgia 34. Georgia vs. Alabama final stats. Comparing quarterbacks. Carson Beck, 439 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 27 for 50 throwing. Jalen Milroe, 374 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, 27 for 33 throwing. Notable data, the total score was 519 yards for Georgia and 547 yards for Alabama. Georgia has 80 rush yards and Alabama has 173 rush yards. Georgia 439 yards, Alabama 374 yards of passing. Alabama 21, Georgia 25. First downs, possession times, 27-26 for Georgia, 32-34 for Alabama. Georgia received 650 and Alabama received 10-90 in penalties. The score was Georgia 4, 7 points off turnovers, Alabama 1-0. Zabien Brown's interception completes the victory. 11:30 p.m. Alabama defeated Georgia 41-34 thanks to a first-year interception by Zabien Brown of Carson Beck in the end zone. The Crimson Tide had a dominating 28-0 lead in the first quarter, but a late interception secured the victory. Important points in the last minutes. 11:27 p.m. With 1:15 remaining, Georgia successfully converted a 4th and 2, and Colby Young's 11-yard pass kept the drive going. 11:15 with a fantastic 75-yard touchdown throw from Jalen Milroe to Ryan Williams, a 17-year-old. With 2:18 left, Alabama had regained the lead at 41-34. 11:13 p.m. Georgia took its first lead at 34-33 when Carson Beck and Dylan Bell connected for a 67-yard touchdown, but the 2-point attempt was unsuccessful. 11:11 p.m. Following a single first down, Alabama was forced to punt, which allowed Georgia to take the lead. Georgia takes the lead over Alabama. 11:04 p.m. Dylan Bell cut the margin to 33-28 with an end-around basket. 10:48 p.m. Following a botched 2-point convert, Carson Beck connected with Lawson Lucky for an 8-yard touchdown, bringing the score to 33-21. Halftime figures, halftime quarterback comparison, Carson Beck, 2 interceptions, 8 of 17 passes for 100 yards. Jalen Milroe, 9 runs for 106 yards and 2 touchdowns, 18 of 21 throwing for 199 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Halftime figures: Georgia 153, Alabama 355 yards in total. Georgia 53, Alabama 156 rush yards. Georgia scored 100 passing yards while Alabama scored 199. First down, 16 for Alabama, 9 for Georgia. Possession times: 11:16 for Georgia and 18:44 for Alabama. Georgia 4-35, Alabama 650 in penalties. Georgia scored 7 points off turnovers while Alabama scored 0 points. The pregame highlights include: the supporters were captivated by the delayed arrival of former President Donald Trump before the game. Important Alabama players were listed as game-time decisions due to injury updates. Alabama supporters booed Kirby Smart as soon as he stepped inside Bryant-Denny Stadium. History of the game and predictions: Georgia is behind 43-26 in the rivalry versus Alabama, with their most recent win coming in the SEC championship game in December 2023. There were differing predictions. Some said Georgia would win, while others said Alabama would. What comes next? Georgia has to gather themselves and concentrate on their next obstacles in the season, while Alabama tries to capitalize on this momentum.